Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into a development that has sent shockwaves across the globe, a geopolitical earthquake that few saw coming. Forget the usual headlines, because what we're about to discuss is truly unprecedented. China has accepted Germany's offer. Yes, you heard that right. In a move that has left analysts scrambling and world leaders in hushed discussions, two seemingly disparate global powers are forging a new path. What exactly is this offer? Why is it so shocking? And what are the potential ramifications for the rest of the world? Buckle up, because we're about to unpack this seismic shift in international relations. Make sure you hit that like button if you're as intrigued as we are, and stick around until the end. You won't want to miss this. For years, the relationship between China and Germany has been a complex tapestry woven with threads of economic partnership, occasional political friction, and a general understanding of the differing global roles. Germany, a cornerstone of the European Union and a staunch member of NATO, has traditionally aligned with Western liberal democracies. China, on the other hand, has risen as a global superpower with a distinct political and economic system, often viewed with suspicion and competition by the West. So, what kind of offer could Germany have possibly made that would prompt such a significant and potentially controversial decision from Beijing? To understand the gravity of this moment, we need to delve into the context of the current global landscape. We're living in an era of increasing geopolitical uncertainty, marked by trade tensions, technological competition, and a shifting balance of power. The war in Ukraine has further exacerbated these tensions, forcing nations to re-evaluate their alliances and strategic partnerships. Let's start by dissecting what this offer from Germany might entail. Given the current geopolitical climate, it's highly unlikely to be a straightforward military alliance. Germany, while a significant military power within Europe, operates within the framework of NATO, and a direct military pact with China would be an earth-shattering departure from its core security commitments. This could involve a significant expansion of existing trade and investment ties, potentially including preferential trade agreements that bypass current EU regulations. Imagine a scenario where German industrial giants gain even greater access to the vast Chinese market, while Chinese companies find a more welcoming and less politically charged gateway to Europe through Germany. This could also involve joint ventures in emerging sectors like green technology, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing, pooling the strengths of both nations. For example, Germany's renowned engineering prowess could be combined with China's massive production capabilities and growing technological innovation. Consider the automotive industry. German car makers have heavily invested in China for decades. This new offer could see even deeper collaboration in the development and production of electric vehicles and autonomous driving technologies, potentially reshaping the global automotive landscape. Statistics show that in 2024, trade between Germany and China reached a record high of over €300 billion, making China Germany's largest trading partner for the 9th consecutive year. This offer could be a move to solidify and expand this crucial economic relationship in the face of growing protectionist sentiments elsewhere. This is perhaps the most compelling aspect of the potential offer. Germany possesses cutting-edge technologies in various fields, from advanced manufacturing and robotics to renewable energy and pharmaceuticals. China, while rapidly developing its own technological capabilities, could stand to gain significantly from closer collaboration with German innovators. This could involve joint research and development projects, the establishment of joint technology parks, and the sharing of expertise in areas of mutual interest. For instance, Germany's leadership in hydrogen technology could be invaluable to China's ambitious decarbonization goals. Similarly, China's advancements in areas like 5G and AI could benefit German industries. However, this aspect would undoubtedly raise concerns among Germany's Western allies, particularly regarding the potential transfer of sensitive technologies that could have military applications. It's plausible that the offer includes safeguards and limitations on the scope of technology sharing, but the very act of such collaboration would be seen as a significant shift. This doesn't necessarily mean a complete abandonment of Germany's Western values or its membership in the EU and NATO. Instead, it could involve a greater willingness from Berlin to understand and accommodate Beijing's perspectives on certain global issues, potentially leading to a more nuanced and less confrontational approach in international forums. This could manifest in areas like climate change negotiations, global health initiatives, and discussions on the future of international governance. For example, Germany might be willing to advocate for a more multipolar world order, a view often espoused by China, potentially creating friction with its traditional allies who favor the existing US-led system. This could also involve Germany playing a mediating role between China and the West on certain contentious issues, leveraging its unique position as a major European power with strong economic ties to China. The offer could include significant German investment in China's infrastructure projects, particularly in areas related to sustainable development and green energy. Conversely, it might also involve increased Chinese investment in German infrastructure and industries, providing a much-needed boost to certain sectors. Imagine German engineering firms playing a key role in China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, albeit with potentially different terms and conditions than those offered to other participating nations. This could also involve joint financing of major infrastructure projects in third countries, presenting a united front on global development. Germany's economy, heavily reliant on exports, has been facing headwinds in recent years. The war in Ukraine has disrupted supply chains and increased energy costs, while concerns about a potential recession loom large. China remains a crucial market for German goods, and deepening economic ties could be seen as a way to mitigate these challenges and secure future growth. Access to China's vast consumer market and its rapidly growing middle class is a powerful incentive for German businesses. Furthermore, in a world increasingly fragmented by trade disputes and protectionist policies, a strong economic partnership with China could provide Germany with a degree of stability and resilience. There's a growing sentiment within Germany and Europe as a whole about the need for greater strategic autonomy from the United States. While the transatlantic alliance remains vital, some policymakers believe that Europe needs to be able to pursue its own interests and forge its own relationships, independent of Washington's directives. This offer to China could be interpreted as a move towards this greater strategic independence, signaling a willingness to engage with different global powers on its own terms. The experience of relying heavily on Russian energy in the past has likely also contributed to a desire for more diversified partnerships. While Germany possesses significant technological strengths, it also recognizes China's rapid advancements in certain areas. Collaboration could provide access to new technologies and innovations that could benefit German industries. Moreover, in a global race for technological dominance, forming strategic partnerships could be seen as a way to stay ahead of the curve. The global balance of power is shifting, and Germany, as a major global player, needs to adapt to this new reality. Engaging with China, a rising superpower, could be seen as a pragmatic move to ensure Germany's continued relevance and influence in a multipolar world. Ignoring China's growing power is no longer a viable option, and forging a constructive relationship, even if it involves some compromises, could be seen as a necessary step. Potential for mediation. Germany, with its strong ties to both the West and its growing relationship with China, might see itself as a potential bridge builder between these two major global blocs. By fostering closer ties with Beijing, Berlin might hope to play a more influential role in de-escalating tensions and promoting dialogue on global issues. Why would China, a nation increasingly confident in its own global standing, accept such an offer from Germany? Several strategic considerations likely played a role in Beijing's decision. As mentioned earlier, Germany possesses world-leading technologies in various crucial sectors. For China, gaining access to this expertise could accelerate its own technological development and reduce its reliance on Western technologies, particularly in areas where it still lags behind. This aligns with China's long-term goal of achieving technological self-reliance and becoming a global leader in innovation. Collaboration with German companies could provide valuable insights and know-how, helping China to bridge technological gaps more quickly. While China has significant trade relationships with many European countries, a deeper strategic partnership with Germany, the EU's largest economy, would further solidify its economic presence in Europe. This could provide a more stable and reliable trading relationship, especially in the face of potential disruptions or political pressures from other Western nations. Germany's influence within the EU could also help China navigate complex regulatory landscapes and gain greater access to the broader European market. In the context of increasing geopolitical competition with the United States, forging stronger ties with a major European power like Germany could be seen as a strategic move to counterbalance Washington's influence. By deepening its relationship with Berlin, Beijing might hope to create divisions within the Western alliance and gain greater leverage in its dealings with the US. This doesn't necessarily mean China wants to break the transatlantic alliance, but rather to create a more multipolar world where the US doesn't hold unilateral sway. Partnering with a respected and influential nation like Germany could enhance China's global image and soft power. It could portray China as a responsible global actor willing to engage in mutually beneficial partnerships with countries from different political systems. This could help to counter some of the negative perceptions of China that exist in the West. Just as Germany seeks to diversify its partnerships, China also benefits from diversifying its relationships beyond its traditional allies. A strong relationship with Germany provides China with another significant global partner and reduces its dependence on any single nation or bloc. By working more closely with Germany, China might gain a greater voice in shaping global norms and standards in areas like technology and trade. Germany's influence within international organizations could be leveraged to promote China's interests and perspectives on global governance. The news of China accepting Germany's offer has sent ripples, or rather, tidal waves, across the global geopolitical landscape. The implications of this move are far-reaching and could potentially reshape the international order as we know it. Let's examine some of the key consequences. This move will undoubtedly put a significant strain on the relationship between Germany and the United States. Washington will likely view this development with deep suspicion and concern, fearing that it could undermine the Western alliance and provide China with access to critical technologies and influence within Europe. Pressure will likely mount on Berlin to reconsider its decision, and the future of the transatlantic partnership could face new challenges. The US might impose sanctions or other measures in an attempt to dissuade Germany from pursuing this closer relationship with China. The EU's unity on China policy has already been tested in recent years. Germany's decision to pursue a deeper strategic partnership with Beijing could further exacerbate these divisions. Some member states, particularly those with closer ties to the US or those more wary of China's growing influence, may view this move with alarm. This could lead to internal disagreements within the EU on how to engage with China, potentially weakening the bloc's overall foreign policy stance. Countries like France, which has also sought a degree of strategic autonomy, might find themselves in a complex position, potentially needing to recalibrate their own China policies in response to Germany's move. While a formal military alliance between Germany and China is unlikely, closer political and technological cooperation could have implications for NATO. Concerns might arise about the potential for sensitive information or technologies to fall into Chinese hands. This could lead to increased scrutiny of Germany's role within the alliance and potentially create tensions among NATO members. Other NATO members might demand greater transparency from Germany regarding the specifics of its agreement with China. This move represents a significant shift in the global balance of power. A closer alignment between the world's second-largest economy, China, and the fourth-largest, Germany, could create a new pole of influence in international affairs. This could accelerate the trend towards a more multipolar world order, where the dominance of the United States is increasingly challenged. Other major powers like Russia and India will be closely watching this development and considering its implications for their own strategic positioning. The economic consequences of this partnership could be substantial. Increased trade and investment between China and Germany could lead to significant economic growth for both nations. However, it could also create competitive pressures for other countries and potentially lead to the formation of new economic blocs. The impact on global supply chains and trade patterns could be significant. For example, if German companies increasingly prioritize the Chinese market, it could lead to a reorientation of global trade flows. Closer technological collaboration between Germany and China could intensify the global race for technological dominance. While this could lead to faster innovation in certain areas, it could also raise concerns about the potential for unfair competition and the transfer of sensitive technologies. Western nations will likely need to reassess their own technological strategies in response to this development. Germany's closer alignment with China, a nation with a very different political system and a track record of human rights concerns, could raise ethical and moral questions. Pressure might mount on Berlin to address these issues in its engagement with Beijing, and the move could be criticized by human rights organizations and some segments of the German public. This could create a dilemma for Germany, balancing its economic and strategic interests with its commitment to democratic values. Let's delve deeper into the potential economic ramifications of this groundbreaking move. The intertwining of the German and Chinese economies could lead to both significant opportunities and potential challenges. We can expect a surge in trade and investment flows between the two countries. German companies, particularly in sectors like automotive, machinery, and chemicals, will likely seek to expand their presence in the Chinese market. Conversely, Chinese investment in Germany, especially in technology and infrastructure, could also increase significantly. This could lead to job creation and economic growth in both nations. The partnership could lead to a realignment of global supply chains. German companies might increasingly look to China as a key partner in their supply chains, potentially reducing their reliance on other regions. This could have implications for other countries that are currently part of these supply chains. The move could potentially influence the future of global trade governance. If Germany and China, two major trading nations, find common ground on certain trade issues, they could exert significant influence on international trade negotiations and potentially challenge existing norms and institutions. While unlikely in the short term, a deeper economic partnership could eventually lead to discussions about greater use of their respective currencies in bilateral trade and investment, potentially reducing reliance on the US dollar. This would be a long-term development with significant implications for the global financial system. While German companies will gain greater access to the Chinese market, they will also face increased competition from domestic Chinese firms, which are rapidly growing in sophistication and technological capabilities. Similarly, Chinese companies entering the German market will need to navigate a competitive landscape with established players. The strengthening of economic ties between Germany and China could have varying impacts on other economies. Some countries might benefit from increased trade opportunities, while others could face greater competition. The overall impact will depend on the specific sectors and the existing trade relationships of individual nations. For example, countries that compete with Germany in key export markets might face increased pressure. Collaboration in areas like AI, robotics, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing could lead to breakthroughs that benefit both nations and potentially reshape global industries. Imagine joint research projects on sustainable energy solutions or the development of next-generation artificial intelligence. As mentioned earlier, the potential for technology transfer, particularly of sensitive technologies with military applications, will be a major concern for Germany's Western allies. Safeguards and limitations will likely be put in place, but the risk of unintended technology transfer will remain. Closer technological cooperation could also raise cybersecurity concerns. Ensuring the security of shared data and infrastructure will be crucial for both nations. While a full-fledged military alliance is unlikely, we might see greater strategic alignment in specific areas, such as maritime security, counter-terrorism, or even space exploration. This could involve joint exercises, intelligence sharing, or coordinated diplomatic efforts. The partnership could influence the development and adoption of global technological standards. If Germany and China align on certain standards, the combined economic and technological weight could encourage other nations to follow suit. While direct military cooperation might be limited, collaboration in areas like AI and autonomous systems could have long-term implications for the future of warfare. This is an area that will be closely watched by military analysts around the world. The world is watching this development unfold with bated breath. Here's a look at how some key nations and blocs might react. As we've already touched upon, the US will likely view this move with significant concern. It could lead to increased tensions in the transatlantic relationship and potentially trigger a reassessment of US foreign policy towards both Germany and China. The US might try to use diplomatic pressure, economic incentives, or even sanctions to dissuade Germany from deepening its ties with China. The EU's reaction will be complex and potentially divided. Some member states might see this as a pragmatic move by Germany to advance its national interests, while others might view it as a betrayal of European unity and a concession to an authoritarian regime. This could lead to internal debates and potentially weaken the EU's collective stance on China. Russia's reaction is harder to predict. On the one hand, it might see this as a welcome development that further weakens the Western alliance. On the other hand, it might be wary of a closer alignment between two major global powers, potentially shifting the balance of power in a way that doesn't necessarily benefit Moscow. India, which has its own complex relationship with China, will be closely observing this development. It might see both opportunities and challenges in a closer partnership between Germany and China. On the one hand, it could open up new avenues for economic and technological cooperation with Germany. On the other hand, it might be concerned about the potential for increased Chinese influence in Europe. These US allies in Asia will likely share Washington's concerns about a closer alignment between Germany and China. They might worry about the potential implications for regional security and the balance of power in Asia. The reactions of other nations will vary depending on their specific economic and political relationships with Germany and China. Some might see new opportunities for trade and investment, while others might worry about being caught in the middle of a growing rivalry between different global blocs. What does this all mean for the long-term future? It's still too early to say definitively, but China's acceptance of Germany's offer could mark a significant turning point in global affairs. This move could accelerate the shift towards a more multipolar world order, where power is more fen-san and no single nation or bloc dominates. We might see the emergence of new alliances and partnerships as nations realignment themselves in response to this development. The world might become even more geopolitically uncertain as the established order is challenged and new power dynamics emerge. The nature of globalization could also be affected, potentially leading to more regionalized or bloc-based economic and political arrangements. A test for international institutions like the United Nations and the World Trade Organization will be tested as they try to navigate this changing global landscape. China's acceptance of Germany's offer is undoubtedly a shocking geopolitical move with potentially far-reaching consequences. It signals a significant shift in the global balance of power and raises fundamental questions about the future of international relations. While the full details of the offer and the long-term implications are still unfolding, one thing is clear: the world is entering a new era of geopolitical complexity and uncertainty. This development will be closely watched by leaders, analysts, and citizens around the globe, and its impact will likely be felt for years to come. So, what do you think about this incredible development? Are you surprised by China's decision? What do you believe are the biggest implications of this move? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. We'd love to hear your perspectives on this fascinating and rapidly evolving situation. If you found this analysis valuable and want to stay informed about the latest geopolitical developments, make sure to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth insights and analysis. We bring you the stories that matter, helping you understand the complex world we live in. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.